So we're tasting the special releases from Diageo 2019, and in this particular case, we're looking at a brand, if you will, that's called the Singleton. So before any of you ask, there is no Singleton distillery. There are, however, 3 different Singleton expressions. And within our laboratories in Diageo, we believe to a certain extent that out there in the big wide world, different continents have different taste profiles. So a few years ago, we looked at producing expressions of whiskey that we could release in the Americas, in Asia, and in Europe. 3 expressions that we feel represent the palate, the general palate of the people living in those continents. So here we have the Singleton of Glen Ord. Glen Ord is one of our bigger distilleries, producing near nigh on 12 million litres a year to go into single malt, into blends. We also have a maltings there where we malt the barley and give different peating levels to some of our distilleries. This particular expression is the Singleton of Glen Ord, and this is 18 years old. So don't forget what I said a couple of minutes ago. Primarily, this is for the Asian palate. So I do expect some of those spicy notes which were achieved from the wood maturation to affect this whiskey. Incidentally, the beautiful bottle that this comes in is based on the Victorian style bottles from the late 19th century. Also, it's great if you have a large back pocket. So I'm joined today with Henry, who's the feature editor from Master of Malt. Henry, could you just pick up this wonderful bottle and can you just give me the strength there?
55%.
55%, similar to the Lagavulin that we had earlier. So let me just pass this over to you. So without further ado, I think Henry and I should savor this wonderful expression of this Highland whiskey that's had 18 years of age in American oak hogsheads. And just so you're aware, hogsheads, we're looking at barrels that have been broken down, in this case in America, broken down almost IKEA fashion, and then rebuilt in our cooperages in Scotland on the mainland. And we have what we call American barrels, 200 litres they hold, or we have the hogsheads, which are rebuilt casks where we put in between 8 and 10 or 12 extra staves. So the height stays the same, but they're fatter, and it means we can get in up to 250 litres in a hogshead. Incidentally, some people say to me, where does the word hogshead come from, or hoggy? Nobody has the answer. We do know, particularly in the markets back in the Victorian age, the butchers would take off the hogsheads and store them in barrels, and they became known as hoggies. So I'll stick with that. More to the point is, how does the whiskey taste? So following on the way that I taste whiskey, nose, mouthfeel, finish, beginning, middle and end, let's get to it, Henry. Let's give Ord the once over. Straight away, actually, I got, and don't get me wrong, this is my first thought. The first nosing, I got Seville oranges. I got orange notes coming through. Almost like a Grand Marnier, even Cointreau on the nose.
Chocolate orange.
Chocolate orange. In fact, this, based on the nose, would be great with some chocolate orange liqueurs. Okay, enough. That orange note, which manifested itself right at the beginning, has continued onto the palate. I can see this I will be experimenting this whiskey with food pairings. I did get just a fraction of a burn too much, so I want to see with the addition of some water whether this will change the complexity. So as I've mentioned in previous conversations, I have no qualms about using water if the whiskey is burning your palate. If you need to allow the whiskey to give up its DNA to your mouth and your gums and for you to appreciate it, a couple of drops of water I think will suffice. I think with the addition of water, this is an exemplary example of Glen Ord. The 18-year-old in casks has given it some residual sweetness, but with the addition of water, it's now silky sweet, and that orange citrus note is holding up well. And the aftertaste is lasting 2 to 3 to 4 minutes. So overall, the Singleton, of which there are 3, the Singleton of Glen Ord, at 18 years of age, is a great example of what a distillery who is incredibly busy, particularly for the Asian market and for the European market that we've got an allocation, extremely happy with this Highland whiskey. Assertive, dry, spirity. This is a great example of what Highland whiskey is all about.